Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sasha Star. It's a chess show on Pod TV, and our today contributor is International Master and Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on again. Last major day of classes. Well, I have lecture next Monday too. But
Congratulations.
yeah,
Excellent. And I've seen today just a little bit earlier presentation of another tournament by the name, um, it's freestyle. You can't even call it a tournament. It's kind of an attraction with a lot of sideshows and presentations and huge prizes. Incredible. And
do you
so
mean Freestyle Friday?
no, it's a freestyle. One of those, I think they have three, four, maybe even five major tournaments around the world in
Oh yeah.
different cities. They already had Paris, they had
Oh
Los
right,
Angeles,
Freestyle Chess Grand Slam Final.
something like that. Yes, I don't know
Yeah,
if it's a
yeah.
final or a separate one. It's hard. I don't grasp the formula of each tournament. What is the time control? How it works? Whether it's a round robin system or
Mhm.
it's kind of elimination system. I really well, I will have it in the next couple of days. I'm pretty sure. But right now, I just don't have the system, unfortunately. So.
Mhm.
Meantime, we have to show you what recently happened in chess because the chess calendar was never that rich in the whole history of chess.
Yeah.
There are now tournaments running one after another, some two, three major tournaments at the same time. So,
The fact that there are only 52 weeks in a year is a major thing, and one must give credit to FIDE as well as to other organizers for
yeah,
this.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Although I can see a trend that the more money attracting this alternative tournament, put it this way, where FIDE is not taking part of an organizer, they have a tendency to attract much more money than FIDE organized tournaments. I don't understand the reason for that. Well, we can speculate if you wish, but I don't see. Do you see the reason for that, Ken?
Yeah, I don't really haven't tracked it, and I'm wondering if it's the same because there's been a lot of growth with FIDE in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, that region of the world, as also reflected by the outcomes in the World Cup. So maybe things are different there.
Well, you see, if you remember the recent history of organized chess, remember the FIDE World Championships at Ilumzinov's time. They were held in Libya, they were held in Iran, they were held in all kind of obscure locations with some money, not anything to write home about it, but some money, of course, they were raised primarily by Ilumzhinov himself.
Right.
So now it seems to me with the Carlson factor, it's now gaining much more money from Europe, from old civilizations, the European civilizations, and they seems to me they're happy to have Carlson as the head of their chess movement. That guarantees them an easy sale, the prizes, and everything else. And it seems to me that FIDE is now trying to accommodate that situation by creating this new
Yeah,
absolute
I was
championship,
going to
which
say
is
that.
the right thing to do for sure. So
Yes.
we'll see. So it's the more tournaments, the more money, the more entertaining, and the quality of broadcast is
Mm.
improving tremendously, and the quality of commentaries. Now you have Judith Polgar, you have Peter Svidler, you have well, still Yasser Serovin, of course, and others. It's event by itself. Listen to this top commentators.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm glad London keeps going strong. London.
Yes, that's right. Would you like to show some games from this recent
Sure,
events?
I'll do that in the denouement of the FIDE World Cup. I'll do
Okay,
the World Cup
yes,
first.
oh,
Um,
absolutely.
so let's see. And let me share my screen and share the entire screen and see if that works out. So, so for the World Cup, there were really three winners if you count the candidates' place as the major prize. So that would be congratulations to Javier Sindarov, Wei Yu, and Andrei Esipenko, who made up for the terrible way he lost to Wei Yi. And maybe I should ask if there's a viewer discretion advisory on this, on the terrible blunder he made, which I think I have a psychological explanation for. But let's first see the decisive game by the winner, as it illustrates something about the difference with rapid and classical chess, and also with things computers see that humans don't. So this was the second rapid tiebreak game after the two classical games and the first rapid game were drawn. So this is Sindarov as black. And one thing I have to say about all these slow Gioco Piano type tabbias, they do give winning chances to black. It's not like some other classical openings where
Exactly.
white can play it so as to make it a two-result game. So even though this looks very modest for black, with black's bishop on a less active square, king bishop on a less active
Ken, have you seen a few games where black, instead of castling, they would start immediate attack h6 and then g5?
Yes, I think we went over one game like that recently. Yes,
Sure.
but
So I'm surprised that white is still playing this opening. I'm really surprised. There's absolutely no chances for a win.
well, yeah, I don't know. It's it's 0.030, normal thing for white to shoot for in the opening, but black actually gets in with the counter chance. So white did not spend a tempo for h3, and the one bad point of white's bishop being on c4 and not e2 is that black's pin is more effective than anything white can similarly generate. On the other hand, if black, it is a situation where, because black has castled, bishop h5 is not as attractive a follow-up for black, because white may play g4 in some position. Do I see it in the computer analysis yet? No, but it's definitely a consideration. However, black captures, white has a nominal little advantage of the two bishops, but black gets some tempi and some ability for activity in the center. So this becomes a model game of how to play with knights against bishops. So we start by reorienting the knights, and now black will be able to take over the f4 square. And so now, so black did not, by the way, play d5 right away. So maybe I'm a little bit mystified by the purpose of b6. Maybe it's why I'm not a grandmaster. Was it the computer's best move? Yes, the computer knows things I don't. I guess it's okay. Well, I guess it will be useful if black plays d5 at some position, but white has stopped that. Well, black is preparing it, maybe. We're just trying to put our pieces on the best squares. And now white decides to gain space on the king side. And it's very instructive how black is able to counter this. Okay, black's just putting pieces centrally, and white decides on activity and double up black's pawns. But I don't know if white really has a plan to attack black's position. And now black plays d5. Okay, so white is attacking, but the engine is already saying that black is clearly equalized. So h6 to stop that expansion. And now black is able to use the half-open file more than white's can. So white's rooks are biting on granite, so to speak, because, well, I mean, white can attack e5 eventually. But here we go. So now white is trying to provoke black into playing d4, and it's successful because it's the only way black can guard e5. So that was the point of white's play. So now black's bishop is a little bit entombed, but black is set up. So this b6 move, now we can see that what it did was set black up to have a superiority on the queen side, even though white had initially staked out space there. And the pawns are arriving in good order. If black's pawn were black on b7 and black played a6, then white would crimp them by playing a5. But now a5 is not so effective. Black will just pass it with b5. Okay, so black's, so again, some more moving. Playing rook e7 allows black's queen to become more active. I guess white is hitting more targets at the moment, but the pawn on e6 restrains white's knight from having more of a point than it does. And besides, white had to guard h5. So black's rook move uncovered an attack against white's noted target. And white did not want to play g4 and make f4 a real hole. Okay, so black now is able to go on the offensive on the queen side. And now I should emphasize again, this was a rapid game, and both players are down to their last 2 minutes, and they get 10-second increments per move. Okay, so knight g4, what could be a more natural move, but it enables black to pinch white's pieces. Although, frankly, after rook e1, c3 would pinch the pieces too. So I don't know why the engine criticizes that. Okay, white in fact even made a cubbyhole for the bishop on e1 rather than having to retreat to c1 where it is actually completely dominated. But maybe the engine thinks it's important strategically that white be able to at least threaten to play bishop a3 and exchange off the bishops, because black's bishop will be seen to have a point in a few moves. Okay, so white did not want, needs at least some defenders of the queen side, and now white dreams about kingside activity again. Okay, but now it's clearly black who has the better finger on the target. Okay, white's bishop is active, but white has to grovel on c2, so we play some more moves. Okay, white tries to get some activity. Okay, so now we come to the critical juncture of the game, okay, where black now is going to try to come behind white. And there we go. And white did not set up in a way to oppose that with rook f1, because that might have left c2 too vulnerable. So anyway, queen e4 check. Now, what white is doing actually is setting up potential counterplay. And actually, maybe I should be singing the tune that white has arguably outplayed black from the point of view that if white plays queen g6, black has not much of an attack against white's king, whereas white has started fingering d4 as a weakness. But white has to guard h5 in some way. So anyway, white played g4, which gives away the advantage that could have been there with queen g6. Okay, so now, so that's a good move. And now we come to the critical phase of the game. Here's where black's bishop becomes relevant. And so white captures, black captures. And now you're faced with the threat.
Ken, a very quick question. Instead of bishop takes e7, could white play rook f6?
Rook f6? Whoa. That's
no, maybe it doesn't work. No.
Yeah, queen g6.
I saw that after pawn takes, there will be a threat of f7. But I have no rook anymore to support.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah. So this is a case where the engine is differing from human play. So now you have to understand white is getting down to 0 seconds and then getting a 10-second increment. So Wei was down to 10 seconds on the previous move. So how would you defend against the attack that black is mounting? Let me just make sure I know where I am in the game. Yeah, so how would you defend against the attack that,
Very simple. King f3 with intention to play king e4 and king takes d4 if possible.
right, yes, so queen f3. Let's see if both. So queen f3, however, though, allows black to check in its mate
Yeah.
next move. So your implementation, I guess, is to play king g2 first. Okay, but now, let's see. For some reason, I'm not see. So so now black plays queen h4, and now there's only one move to stay in the game. Okay. So this is the surprising fact. The engine was showing 0.00, but the only way white can draw is to sacrifice the rook, and then this will be perpetual check.
Yeah.
With queen e4 when black plays to h7. So that's very difficult to see, and I can certainly imagine calculating that black has checks, but it's not mate. However, unfortunately, what white resonated was this very strong move that catches white in a pincer with the e5 square, and now mate next move. So,
horrible.
Yeah. So that was what won the World Cup for Sindarov. So I want to show something nice by Wei Yi. So I'm going to show just the opening moves of this game, as this is a clear example of how to outplay someone. And this was the second classical game. I have to go all the way back, though, to one of the earlier rounds to show this. So 4 knights defense, again. So, classical play of the books of my childhood. So now very symmetrical. So how is white going to outplay black from such a symmetrical position? Well, one thing is white can put pressure on the center earlier than black, so black falls back rather than expose the c7 square, and that gives white activity with the queen. And already, this is counted as a mistake. This is a lost pawn, a loss of a pawn by Sevian, and Sevian won't recover, although he did get a little bit back in the game. So the flaw of this move is white just captures a pawn. And if black captures, then bishop takes d6 and captures on f5 next.
Yeah.
So most unfortunate happening in a classical game. And I don't know, that this is probably out of their prep. It was just they're making a mistake in an early part of the move. So now Sevian plays like this. Now, as I said, black will it is a bishop's off colors position, and Sevian plays a few good moves to get back into this game. Okay, but the latent problem here is that black is left with a knight against white's bishop, and in search of counterplay, black allows white to unbalance the position. So I'm trying to see where I thought black was back in this game. It was around here, with f5. Yeah, so this is good. This fixes a weakness, and so now rook fd8 also good, but it was here that black misunderstood and started playing too actively. So, rook a6 actually is the...
Why not rook d1, trying to exchange a pair of rooks?
Yeah. Rook d1 is hanging e6.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
king in the 7. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, king f7, nothing to criticize here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's here, though, that black should just, Black can play, well, the engine wants b5. I would say rook d4 would be my choice of move. I would just play to have active pieces. White's up half a pawn. So the problem in these positions is that when things become unbalanced, that's when the bishop dominates the knight. So Sevian went after a pawn, but this allows White now a real majority, 4 versus 2 on the queen side. And now White must be judged winning, and this actually becomes resignable in a few moves, in my opinion. So now White gets off the rooks, and Sevian tried, but even though White is only 1 pawn up, having 2 outside pass pawns and a bishop is just too much.
Yes, agreed.
So the and White's maybe didn't play the best technique, but it was certainly enough to win this game. So that's a deserving win for Wei Yi that won this match. But we must come to the terrible ending of the semifinal match against Yesipenko. Okay. Again, in the second rapid game with the 2 classical games and the first rapid game having been drawn. Okay. And Yesipenko had a real roller coaster of blunders. He was the beneficiary of one and blew another where he mishandled a winning endgame, but still won the match later. However, this is unfortunate thing. Again, of course, it's rapid chess with 10-second increment, and they're down under half a minute. So I want to approach this blunder in terms of what you're thinking. White having played, so White plays the move rook h7. So what idea do you as Black think about this? Well, you think, okay, so the idea is that White is going to play knight e3 attacking my rook, and then knight d5, okay, which will make that pawn indefensible. Or White could play knight e7 check, okay, and then I can't go to b6 because knight d5 check is going to fork and win the pawn. And okay, if he checks, I could go to c5, but that might have other drawbacks with c7 being undefended.
That's right.
So I'm sure Yesipenko thought, well, you know what? To anticipate this and to deny White the d5 square and protect my c pawn, I'm going to play queen b6, king b6, and then on knight e3, play c5, stopping the check. Well, yeah, unfortunately, he forgot this previous train of thought about White having attacked the rook, and that was the end of his World Cup. Very unfortunate.
You see, if it would be adjourned position some 60 years ago, so the player like Petrosian would ask with the black pieces before playing this king b6, he would ask his second, do I have a draw? So the answer would be, of course, you have a draw, probably winning, unless you will get in the trap of knight e3, threatening knight d5, and attacking your rook. And if you are not going to move your rook out, you will not have a draw. That's a only situation.
That is right. Now, what I forgot to say here is that Black should be winning. Okay, so the move king b6 actually gives away most of the advantage. After knight e3, because White is going to play knight d5 check and win the pawn, White is close to equalizing. So the answer instead is to move the rook out of danger with rook a2.
Absolutely.
And it must be said that's a natural move to play because you're going to hit White's king from the king side. And the knight is already guarding the pawns. So here, Black should be winning.
Yeah.
So most unfortunate because he was so close to knocking Wei Yi out of the World Cup. But let us see instead how the very smooth game that he won to get in the final. Again, I like showing wins by Black. There was something on Twitter yesterday involving Alex Cholovich and someone else I forget about The poster said, "What is better than the King's Indian defense?" And Cholovich responded, "The King's Indian attack." And that's what white maybe sets up here, but it doesn't work very well. And however, white does play attacking moves, but we'll see how black very calmly rebuffs them.
I don't like this d3 move. It's if you're playing with white and it's a decisive or one of two decisive games, you should play something more aggressive, something which for sure would give you at least some of advantages. And this d3, you're already playing almost like a black pieces of opening.
You may be right. White does, however, follow up aggressively and comes a cropper. Aggressively on all points of the board. So we're trying to pressure d5 and d7. And black does waste a tempo. And white now plays f4 to shore up that square. And taking over e5 is one of the themes of the King's Indian attack, though more often it's accomplished by advancing the e-pawn. So, okay. So now, here is where Yakuboyev makes a misjudgment. White should bring the knight into the game and prepare to capture on d5 with the knight, or make other captures if black plays knight c6. But instead he captured with the bishop. And the real flaw in white's game is going to be how long it takes the knight on b1 to enter the game. So this is maybe what Yakuboyev overlooked.
Yeah, very strong move.
So, right. So if you take the rook, then you are actually trapped like a fly. So you might think, oh wait, my knight on e5 is stopping knight c6, so my queen isn't trapped right away. But yeah, what is trapped here is checkmate, and then rook a8 is coming.
Ken, could you take knight with the bishop after queen takes a8?
Let's see.
Yeah, okay, and now you take knight. No, queen takes rook, and now bishop takes knight.
Oh, let's say like this.
And then bishop b7 and knight c6, or it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, the computer's saying there's something wrong with this. Bishop b7.
Oh, pawn on c5. Okay, I already see what's wrong.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. The one, yeah, c5.
Oh, queen c6 is quite strong, maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah, but there's e4. No, okay, it doesn't work.
e4, yeah, bottling you up, yeah.
Unless you play knight d7 and rook a8 if you have time for that.
Yep.
I doubt it. Okay.
So it would be interesting to know if this was in Yasipenko's preparation. By the way, white retreats back, and now black gets a very nice game with the two bishops. Obvious compensation for the pawn deficit, and large lead in development, and the ability to make a lever move on c4 that undermines white's e4 square. So, white, again, white is playing, play him like you got him. It was a saying my parents said at Bridger. Probably that comes from poker when you bluff. So white is certainly making aggressive moves as if, well, I'm going ahead. I have a better center. I have an attack. But problem is too many weak squares. So black's knight actually can live long and prosper on d3, buttressed by the rook. And now black is actually rolling with an attack. And it's very instructive to see how black just crashes through in the center. Queen e3, nice power move. Now, this is the other brilliant move of this game, knight c1.
Complete penetration.
Complete penetration indeed, yes. So white cannot capture this because interestingly enough, you don't take the knight. You can play queen e2 check, and it's mate coming up. Okay, well, you can take the knight too.
Nothing wrong is to take the knight, and
yes, you want to take the knight.
Win a couple of moves later.
Yep. So yes, it's made equal way. So anyway, so White tried to get out of by playing rook g3, but just queen e2 as checkmate coming up.
Horrible.
So a very slashing win by Yesipenko. So it'll be interesting to see him in the candidates as well. He's clearly a young and up and coming player. So I, however, want to shift over to London, where a person who's not going to be in the upcoming candidates, who was previously and didn't do so well, nevertheless entirely dominated a strong field in London. So this was a game played yesterday. I'll also shout out that yesterday this was a draw, and there were 4 wins, all of them by English players. So a great victory for being under the English flag. And this almost counts as a win because Noterbeck has a large advantage at the end and can press his attack. But a draw was sufficient to win the game with a round to spare. So again, I'm highlighting games where Black is able to play actively for a win. And that's certainly the case with the Queen's Gambit Accepted. Even if you play a move like this that releases the central tension. Okay, so White does get a development advantage in this position, but it's dynamic, and it takes White some time to retrieve the pawn. So White, in fact, goes and hunting for the pawn that way. But if you want to play for a win as Black, or if you're well booked up and know how to avoid the dangers, this is a good way to do so. So Black just develops normally. White has to take some time to keep Black from infiltrating square. So this is, again, play against Black's pieces, but White is behind in development. So Black actually keeps White's knight from entering the game. And this now minimizes the h6 move, minimizes the damage to the light squares, especially if White would play queen c4 check. But White plays rook c1, and now, this is fine for Black if Black plays knight d8. I shouldn't really criticize White's play either. So Black does, in fact, play a move where if White played queen e2, rook b6 would be exposed as a misjudgment. I'm obviously just looking at the computer line, but it does set up for White to play queen c4 with tempo. It is, however, though, effective against White's queenside play, which Firouzja decided to pursue. Okay, but in so doing, now Black's rook on b6 makes a little more point, and this Black has rerouted the knight. So now,
instead of knight d2, wouldn't it be better to play knight h4, trying to knight f5 next move?
Yeah, let's see. So as an example, let's see. Well, we're hanging the e pawn.
Yeah,
maybe we could have done it. We could have done it on this move.
That's why queen d3 was probably better than queen a4.
Yeah. Bringing White's knight, White's queen back toward the center.
Knight and keep c4 for the knight.
Yeah,
maybe would be a better idea.
Right. So
I don't see the board.
Oh, you don't see the board now?
No, just
it should just flip out because I'm still sharing.
Oh, okay, got it.
Got it back. Okay, it may have just fuzzed out for a second. Yes. So, So White. Yeah, no. This is kind of weird cluster on the queen side for White. I have to say.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play f4, if you're not going to get f4 in, then there's not so much point to White's play. So White, in fact, is now obviously thinking of f4, but there's still more Black pieces on f4 than White's. Okay, so knight c5 is certainly a very tempting move. The computer wants knight g5 with a more straightforward attack. But here we go. This is still very active play. So again, this is challenging, and black profits a pawn temporarily. So I guess it depends on how you would judge this position. Well, structurally, it's better for white, and you do run the risk of white.
Yeah, without queens, white would have superior position, but with queens on the board,
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Yes, f3 is certainly weak. So white plays knight d2. It's a logical defensive move. But black is going to play rook d5 and take over the d file. So black's rook on b5 wound up having a point. Now black takes over the f3 square. And so this is interesting here. Black just comes in with pieces, and this move is actually a mistake objectively, but it precipitates a peaceful end to the game. So the computer says that white should play bishop c1 so as to make black. Well, let's see. This actually requires some calculation. So the computer wants white to play this way. Now, aren't we just losing a piece with tempo? Let's see. So why are we not losing a piece with tempo? Because we can capture the knight back. Okay. So this is probably going to fizzle to a draw because black has enough weaknesses that and can't make an attack on the king. So that requires some tricky calculation, and white was down to 2 minutes in this classical game. 30-second increment, but still. So h3 is natural, expecting it would be a draw, but actually after queen g6, knight takes d6, rook takes d6. Bishop takes e5. Let's see. So why does this? I could see black rejecting this on the other hand because it looks like there's much point to it. Oh, the point is that you're going to make it difficult for white. Oh yeah, you win the queen for rook and bishop. So let's see. So this so if white can't capture on e5, then white really is in trouble in this position. So that's the calculation. Okay, because if let's see, if king h1, oh yeah, queen e6, what a move. That's a nice leaving the rook hanging. But otherwise, what is white doing? This is well, as said, with 30 minutes left, Abdusattorov, certainly could have calculated this and played for a win, but the invitation to make a draw by perpetual check was certainly tempting because it wins you the tournament, and that was how the game ended.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a great tournament for him, and he absolutely deserved winning first prize.
Yeah, queen g1. Actually, queen g6 works here too. I didn't even notice this when I was looking at the game because this, oddly enough, oops, nope, I'm sorry, just capture on e4. Sorry, being sorry. Yes. So this anyway was a very nicely played game by Abdusattorov, who won most of his games in the tournament. So the final round is being played today. Let me just take a look at it. No, still early enough. Can't make judgments about any of these games. So.
Yeah, but Abdusattorov won the first prize in any case. He has enough points. So listen, it was very interesting week, and the next week will be even more interesting with all this new tournaments like this how do they call it freestyle?
Freestyle, a classic final. Yes,
they have. It seems to me that they have qualified promoters and sponsors behind this tournament. So we'll see how it will develop, and we'll definitely look at it next week. In the meantime, thank you so much, Ken.
Sure thing.
Great weekend, and everybody else, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
same place, same time.
Every month of December, Hanukkah and all. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.